Hi, Cora. Hi, Henry. Hi, Bonnie. This is one of my favorite books from when I was a little girl. It's called Yertle the Turtle and Other Stories by Dr. Seuss. So I've read other books by Dr. Seuss that I think you guys have liked. I know I've liked them. And this has some of my favorite stories from when I was little. So I can't wait to read it to you. I hope you haven't heard it before. But even if you have, it's fun to hear it again. So the first story is called Yertle the Turtle. There he is. On the faraway island of Salamasond, Yertle the Turtle was king of the pond. A nice little pond. It was clean. It was neat. The water was warm. There was plenty to eat. The turtles had everything turtles might need, and they were all happy, quite happy indeed. They were, until Yertle, the king of them all, decided the kingdom he ruled was too small. I'm ruler, said Yertle, of all I can see. But I don't see enough. That's the trouble with me. With this stone for a throne, I look down on my pond. But I cannot look down on places beyond. This throne that I sit on is too low, low down. It ought to be higher, he said with a frown. If I could sit high, how much greater I'd be. What a king! I'd be ruler of all I could see. So, Yertle the Turtle King lifted his hand, and Yertle the Turtle King gave a command. He ordered 9 turtles to swim to his stone, and using these turtles, he built a new throne. He made each turtle stand on another one's back, and he piled them all up in a 9-turtle stack. And then Yertle climbed up. He sat down on the pile. What a wonderful view! He could see almost a mile. All mine, Yertle cried. Oh, the things I now rule! I'm king of a cow, and I'm king of a mule. I'm king of a house, excuse me, and what's more beyond that, I'm king of a blueberry bush and a cat. I'm Yertle the Turtle, oh, marvelous me, for I am the ruler of all I can see. And all through the morning he sat there up high, saying over and over, a great king am I, until long about noon. Then he heard a faint sigh. What's that? Snapped the king, and he saw at the bottom, and he looked down the stack, and he saw at the bottom a turtle named Mac, just a part of his throne. And this plain little turtle looked up and he said, beg your pardon, King Yertle. I've pains in my back and my shoulders and knees. How long must we stand here, your majesty, please? Silence, the king of the turtles barked back. I'm king, and you're only a turtle named Mac. You stay in your place while I sit here and rule. I'm king of a cow, and I'm king of a mule. I'm king of a house and a bush and a cat. But that isn't all. I'll do better than that. My throne shall be higher, his royal voice thundered. So pile up more turtles. I want about 200. Turtles, more turtles, he bellowed and brayed, and the turtles way down in the pond were afraid. They trembled, they shook, but they came, they obeyed. From all over the pond they came swimming by dozens, whole families of turtles with uncles and cousins, and all of them stepped on the head of poor Mac. And one after another, they climbed up the stack. Then Yertle the turtle was perched up so high he could see 40 miles from his throne in the sky. "Hooray!" shouted Yertle. "I'm king of the trees, I'm king of the birds, and I'm king of the bees. I'm king of the butterflies, king of the air. Ah me, what a throne, what a wonderful chair. I'm Yertle the turtle, oh marvelous me, for I am the king of all that I see." Then again, from below, in the great heavy stack, came a groan from that plain little turtle named Mac. "Your Majesty, please, I don't like to complain, but down here below we are feeling great pain. I know up on top you are seeing great sights, but down at the bottom we too should have rights. We turtles can't stand it. Our shells will all crack. Besides, we need food. We are starving," groaned Max. Mac, not Max, Mac. "You hush up your mouth," howled the mighty King Yertle. "You've no right to talk to the world's highest turtle. I rule from the clouds, over land, over sea. There's nothing, no, nothing that's higher than me." But while he was shouting, he saw with surprise that the moon of the evening was starting to rise up over his head in the darkening skies. "What's that?" snorted Yertle. "Say, what is that thing that dares to be higher than Yertle the king? I shall not allow it. I'll go higher still. I'll build my throne higher. I can and I will. I'll call some more turtles. I'll stack 'em to heaven. I need about 5,607. But as Yertle the Turtle King lifted his hand and started to order and give the command, that plain little turtle below in the stack, that plain little turtle whose name was just Mac, decided he'd taken enough, and he had, and that plain little lad got a little bit mad. And that plain little Mac did a plain little thing. He burped. And his burp shook the throne of the king. And Yertle the turtle, the king of the trees, the king of the air and the birds and the bees, the king of a house and a cow and a mule, well, that was the end of the Turtle King's rule. For Yertle, the king of all Salamasond, fell off his high throne and fell plunk in the pond. And today, the great Yertle, the marvelous he, is king of the mud. That's all he can see. And the turtles, of course, all the turtles are free, as turtles and maybe all creatures should be. That's the end of Yertle the Turtle. But we can stay on and hope that my iPad still will record the next story, because the next story in the book is another one of my favorites. I don't think I've read this since I was a little girl. Gertrude McFuzz. There once was a girl bird named Gertrude McFuzz, and she had the smallest plain tail ever was. One droopy droop feather. That's all that she had. And that one little feather made Gertrude so sad. For there was another young bird that she knew, a fancy young birdie named La-la-li-loo. And instead of one feather behind, she had two. Poor Gertrude, whenever she happened to spy Miss La-la-li-loo flying by in the sky, she got very jealous. She frowned and she pouted. Then one day she got awfully mad and she shouted, "This just isn't fair! I have one, she has two. I must have a tail just like La-la-li-loo." Oops. So she flew to her uncle, a doctor named Dake, whose office was high in a tree by the lake. And she cried, "Uncle Doctor, oh please, do you know of some kind of a pill that will make my tail grow?" "Tut, tut," said the doctor. "Such talk. How absurd. Your tail is just right for your kind of a bird." Then Gertrude had tantrums. She raised such a din that finally her uncle the doctor gave in, and he told her just where she could find such a pill. On a pillberry vine on the top of a hill. "Oh, thank you," chirped Gertrude McFuzz, and she flew right straight to the hill where the pillberry grew. Yes, there was the vine, and as soon as she saw it, she plucked off a berry and started to gnaw it. It tasted just awful. Almost made her sick, but she wanted that tail, so she swallowed it quick. And she felt something happen. She felt a small twitch, as if she'd been tapped down behind by a switch. And Gertrude looked round and she cheered. It was true. 2 feathers! Just like, exactly like La-la-li-loo. And then she got an idea. Now I know what I'll do. I'll grow a tail better than La-la-li-loo. These pills that grow feathers are working just fine. So she nibbled another one off of the vine. She felt a new twitch, and then Gertrude yelled, "Whee! Miss La-la-li-loo has only 2. I have 3. When La-la-li-loo sees this beautiful stuff, she'll fall right down flat on her face, sure enough. I'll show her who is pretty, I certainly will, while I'll make my tail even prettier still." She snatched at those berries that grew on that vine. She gobbled down 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And she didn't stop eating, young Gertrude McFuzz, until she'd eaten 3 dozen. That's all that there was. You ready for this? Boing, boing, boing. The feathers popped out with a zang and a zing. They blossomed like flowers that bloom in the spring. All fit for a queen. What a sight to behold. They sparkled like diamonds, and gumdrops and gold. Like silk, like spaghetti, like satin, like lace. They burst out like rockets all over the place. They waved in the air and they swished in the breeze, and some were as long as the branches of trees. And still they kept growing. They popped and they popped until long about sundown, when finally they stopped. "And now," giggled Gertrude, "the next thing to do is fly right straight home and show La-la-li-loo. And when Lala sees these, why, her face will get red, and she'll let out a scream and she'll fall right down dead." Then she spread out her wings to take off from the ground. But with all of those feathers, she weighed 90 pounds. She yanked and she pulled and she let out a squawk. But that bird couldn't fly, couldn't run, couldn't walk. And all through that night she was stuck on that hill, and Gertrude McFuzz might be stuck up there still if her good Uncle Dake hadn't heard the girl yelp. He rushed to her rescue, and he brought along help. To lift Gertrude up almost broke all their beaks, and to fly her back home it took almost 2 weeks. And then it took almost another week more to pull out those feathers. My, Gertrude was sore. And finally, when all of the pulling was done, Gertrude behind her again just had one. That one little feather she'd had as a starter. But now that's enough, because now she is smarter. Hope you liked that story. I'm going to read the next two on the next one. So, sorry. Love you. Mwah. 2 more stories coming up.